Okay, so we have 12y squared minus 9x squared all over y all over 16y squared. Okay. The only other thing that we would do here is, let's see, well, we've got a fraction over a fraction here, so think of this as over 1. So if I can multiply by the reciprocal, I would get 12y squared minus 9x squared all over, now when I multiply by the reciprocal, this would be 1 over 16y squared. Now when I add my exponents together, it would actually be 16y to the third. I'm almost done. I could probably take one last step here and I can factor out a 3. So this would end up being 3. Then we've got 4y squared minus 3x squared all over 16y to the third. So that would end up being your second derivative. Okay? All right, so for this third one, I'm going to post this. I'm going to put this up here, and I'm hoping you guys can pause the video. And when you're ready, restart it, and maybe fast forward to the end and see if we get the same answer. Okay, if we don't get the same answer, then just back up and watch the explanation here. Okay, so if you've done this, I would say my first derivative, I'm just going to skip ahead here and say this is 3y to the second dy dx. Now on this side, my derivative is just going to be 4. Okay, so then when I solve for my first derivative, dy dx, I'm going to get 4 over 3y squared. Okay, so now when I go to my second derivative, use the quotient rule, so low d high minus high d low, which is this. And now this would all be over low squared, so 3y squared all to the second. Okay, now that second is going to end up having to go to both of these. Okay, so this is going to be 0 minus 24y dy dx, which we'll end up plugging in a second, all over, this would be 9y to the fourth. Okay, because that second went to both of those. I'll plug in my dy dx from the top here. I'm going to plug that right in here. So this would be negative 24y, and this would be 4 over 3y squared all over 9y to the fourth. Okay, and at this point we're not adding, subtracting fractions or anything. It looks like we don't even have to find common denominators here. We can just multiply straight across. So 24 times 4 is 96, so 96y over 3y squared over 9y to the fourth. Okay, we can divide. Obviously we'll get a nice clean number. If we divide 96 by 3, it would actually be 32. And this would be, well, let's just take it one step at a time here. This would be 32y over y squared over 9y to the fourth. Okay, so all I did was divide 96 by 3, kept my y squared. And now really all we have to do here is, if I multiply by the reciprocal, I'd have 32y over, this would be 9y to the sixth. Okay, because when I multiply by the reciprocal, that's 1 over 9y to the fourth. Now I can add my 2 and 4 together. Now you can take one of these away and take one of those away. Your final answer becomes 32 over 9y to the fifth. Okay.